Russia has invaded Ukraine, but they are so far away. What does it got to do with us? And to what extent is it going to affect our stock market? Hi, I'm Frankie. Welcome back to my fuck show. The saying goes, the world is a global village. People around the world are being brought together by the internet and countries are interconnected through trades. So when something happens even far away from us, trust me, it will hurt your wallet at the end of the day. And that's what I want to talk about today and how war is going to impact the local stock market. Before I start, I want to say that the team and I have been struggling a while to make this video. Some of us think that we shouldn't talk about investment and money when people's lives are on the line. Society is being ripped apart by power struggles between nations. It's the 21st century. After 2,000 years. Longer than that actually. We humans never learn. I am very disappointed with the Russian decision to invade Ukraine. And history tells us, although it's a conflict between two countries, the whole world is going to suffer the consequences. If we don't talk about it now, more people may struggle directly or indirectly in the future. I bet all of you already felt the impact on your investment portfolio when the first missile hit the Ukrainian soil. War means disruption. War means economic halt. War means uncertainty. Since stocks are seen as risky financial assets, when all these anxieties kicks in, not just people of Ukraine, but investors around the world also flee for safety. In this case, the first reaction, before anything else, was to sell off risky assets such as stocks and reposition their money in the more safe haven asset. Gold. There's so much to say from the gold price chart, but no, it's not about technical analysis. Recall in January 2022, the Fed took the center stage on rolling back money printing to tame inflation. It also indicated that the US will start increasing interest rates to achieve that target. If holding the US dollar pays you interest, why would you want to hold gold which gives you nothing? No wonder people ditched their gold ahead of the interest rate hike. February was an entirely different storyline for gold. You see, Ukraine wants to join NATO to be in the big Western boys club. But because the entire Eastern Europe belt is so important to Russia's national security to separate itself from the Western powers, if Ukraine joins NATO, it immediately puts a threat on the Russian border in the West. As Russia continuously gave out stern warning on Ukraine's decision to do so, tensions were building in the international politics scene. This is when investors started to feel something isn't right, and that created a new wave of demand for gold. On 24th of February 2022, the first missile hit Ukrainian soil. It also hit the market sentiment around the world. As a result, the market experienced drastic turbulence and very high volatility on stock prices. As investors digest the news and assess the situation in this new war zone, more of them begin rushing for safety. Gold, the safe haven asset, saw its price going higher every single day. The point I want to make here is that if everyone is going after gold, there will be less money in the stock markets, and that's why they are falling. Politics aside, Russia is the world's second largest producer of natural gas and one of the world's largest oil producing nation. When it decided to invade Ukraine, many Western countries started to impose sanctions on Russia, limiting the ability for it to trade with the rest of the world.
So that's against the rules, and you can't sit with us. You can't sit with us!
But that also means that the world may get less oil and gas supply from Russia. Even though this sanction could be temporary, 10 years is also temporary depending on how you see it. It is anticipated that the world will get into a supply disruption on the energy source to power the world. Malaysia is a net exporter of oil and gas products. From the government's perspective, it is said that every dollar increase per barrel in oil price will rope in 300 million ringgit extra revenue in a year. On a year-to-date basis, oil price has gone up from $76 per barrel to about 100 bucks. If oil price stays at this price until year end, wow! 7.2 billion ringgit. But our exchange rate tak ada rasa pun. If Malaysia became more prosperous because of increase in oil prices, wouldn't that make our ringgit stronger? The money is used to subsidize your petrol already lah, my friend. If not, where got 2 ringgit and 5 cents per litre of raw 95 when oil price is so high now? In fact, it is said that when oil price hits above $90 per barrel, the government fuel subsidy will rise to a record 24 billion ringgit. On the net basis, the government coffer will be worse off by 18.6 billion. So, rising oil price is not a good thing for us after all. But more importantly, oil price increase is definitely good for oil and gas gas upstream players. Companies that literally suck up oil and gas from underground and sell them for profit. Why? No matter how much the market price is for oil and gas, the cost to suck up 1 barrel of oil is more or less the same. Therefore, the higher the price of oil will immediately translate into a higher profit to this kind of business. Here is where things starts to get interesting. Everything around us at its most raw form are actually commodities. Things like iron ore, aluminium, wood, and cooking oil. In order to get hold of such commodities, we use machines to extract them from Mother Nature. Most of the time, machines are run on fuel, sometimes gas. When oil and gas prices are going up on the back of what is happening between Russia and Ukraine, the cost of extracting raw material becomes higher. These people didn't open shop to do charity, right? So when it is more expensive to keep the machines running, raw material companies or upstream players of various industries will pass the cost on to their customers. Eventually, the passing on activity will come to haunt your wallet. We call this inflation. Inflation, the word that we are all tired of hearing since 2021. Unfortunately, this new war chapter in our history will continue to make inflation a major concern for every single stock around the world. In the Malaysian context, a hyperinflation like this on commodities is positive for plantation, oil and gas, mining, and smelting. The key word is upstream. What about the downstream players? In an inflationary market condition, especially this round when many people lose the source of income due to COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns, downstream businesses find it very difficult to pass on the extra cost to their customers. They just won't tolerate exorbitant prices as they try to save as much as they can to survive this pandemic. As this goes on, downstream profit margin will start to erode, which is not a good thing for investors. Central bankers around the world are very well familiar with the implication of the current situation we are facing today. And right now, they are facing a huge dilemma. What to do with the interest rates? Yes, we all know interest rates are going up inevitably, up to 7 to 8 times in fact in the US. However, that expectation did not take into account this war. So, should the interest rate be even higher than what the central bankers had planned to do? If interest rates are set too high, the economy cannot grow because people are going to put their money away in FD to earn the high interest instead of spending in the economy. Anyways, I hope you can agree with me that no matter what decision they are going to make, interest rates are definitely going up. It's just a matter of how high is it going to be. With that backdrop, I want to draw your attention to how a bank works. I'm sure you know what's FD or fixed deposits. It is a contract between you and the bank, usually in a tenure of 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year, to allow the bank to use your money to do lending activities for profit. At the end of the day, the bank will share a portion of the profit with you, the depositors. Let's play a scenario to help you understand what I'm trying to say here. Suppose you have a 1 month FD with the bank and Bank Negara says the interest rate increases 0.25% tomorrow. Sorry my friend, the bank will not pay you extra 0.25% in this 1 month cycle. You need to wait for your FD to be renewed in the following month to reflect the increase in interest rate. But on the other hand, if interest rates were to increase tomorrow, the bank is going to increase all the loans interest with immediate effect. The point I want to make is that when interest rates go up, the cost of funds for the bank remain the same temporarily until FDs are renewed. But it is already making more money as it charges higher interest on the loans. Imagine this happens up to 7 to 8 times over the next 2 years. Wow, I just cannot imagine how big bankers' smiles are right now. We are not here today to tell you to profit from other people's pain in the war. In fact, I find it very saddening to see the battle between Western powers and Russia to last almost a century now. From an international relation perspective, the countries are trying to strive for a balance of power between both parties. But this exercise is sacrificing many innocent lives. Children are losing their parents, wives are losing their husbands, soldiers are losing their families, and people are losing their country. Although we are far away from the battlefield, the war that is happening in Ukraine now will impact the world. Since we are part of the world, we must be prepared for what is ahead of us and safeguard ourselves physically and financially. That's all we have for today. #peace.